Good day everyone, my name is Jinwil Silasala and I'm going here to present the other final income taxes. So ano nga ba yung iba't ibang final income taxes na maaari nating matalakay sa aralin ito? The first one is the fringe benefit tax. The second one is the interest and income payments to depository banks under the expanded foreign currency deposit system. The third one is the income payments to subcontractors of petroleum service contractors. And the last one is the note on special aliens. So let's move on to the first one, which is the fringe benefits tax. So before anything else, ano nga ba yung tinatawag nating fringe benefits tax? So it is a form of tax that companies paid in lieu of benefits they offered employees in addition to the compensations paid to them. It was included by the Finance Act of 2005 with effect from April 1, 2016. It was set of 30% of the cost of benefits the company paid, and it was aimed to bring under the tax net those benefits that were previously out of it. This tax was paid in addition to income tax, irrespective of whether or not the company had income to tax liability. So, bakit nga ba nag-o-offer ng ganitong tax ang isang company sa kanyang employees? So, it is simply because companies use fringe benefits to motivate, recruit, and retain high-quality employees at the best organization. So, companies that compete for the best talent in the field often offer extraordinary benefits. So, ano nga ba yung iba't ibang mga benefits na makukuha natin mula dito? So, ang ilan dito yung pension plans, profit sharing programs, vacation pay, and company-paid life, health, and employment insurance programs. So, malinaw naman sa atin kung ano yung fringe benefits tax. So, ngayon, tutungo tayo sa pangalawa, which is the interest and other income payments to depository banks under the expanded foreign currency deposit system. So, first, ano nga ba yung tinutukoy nating FCDUS o yung Foreign Currency Deposit System? So, it is a system, local units of banks that are allowed by the BSP to participate in activities involving foreign currency transactions. This unit may be granted authority to engage in final futures and options trading provided they have sought approval from central bank. So may katanungan dito. It is interest income from bank deposits subject to total tax. So interest on bank savings, time deposits, deposit substitutes, and money market placement received by domestic or resident foreign corporations from a domestic corporation are subject to tax to 20%. So, while interest income derived from FCDU deposit is subject to a final tax of 15%. So, may isa pang question dito. What tax rate will apply for the passive income earned by resident citizen or interest income from a depository under the expanded foreign currency deposit system? So, the interest income from foreign currency loans granted such depositors bank under said expanded system to resident other than offshore banking unite in the Philippines or the depository banks under the expanded system shall be subject to a final tax of 10%. So, tapos tayo sa second one. Ngayon, let's move on to the third one, which is the income payments to subcontractors of services contractors. So, ito ay nabanggit sa Presidential Decree No. 87, whereas foreign subcontractors involved in petroleum corporations in the Philippines are taxable as resident foreign corporations. The said foreign subcontractors perform transitioning activity during the taxable year and neither maintaining regular office or fixed place business nor keep book accounts in the Philippines. It is therefore necessary to simplify the method of taxing the said foreign subcontractors and the aliens involved in petroleum corporations in the Philippines. So, to ensure the collection of whatever taxes that is due from them, in order to place local or domestic subcontractors in equal footing and to make the competitive with foreign subcontractors, this should be similarly taxed as foreign subcontractors. So, malinaw naman yon sa atin. And the last one is the note on special aliens. So, alam na natin kapag sinabi natin alien is any person who is netizen or a national living in a specific country. So, non-resident and aliens are subject to Philippine income tax on other Philippine source income only, such as employment income and passive income. Yung passive income natin sinutukoy ay yung mga man earned in a manner does not require too much effort. Some examples of these are creating course, write an ebook, rental income, affiliate marketing, flip retail products, selling photography, online, and many more. So that's all the other final income taxes. Hope you learned. Thank you.
Good day everyone, this is the continuation of the discussion about the final income and taxation. Under Chapter 5 of Final Income Taxation, we have what we call final withholding tax return. If you remember in the previous lesson under Chapter 2, when we say final withholding tax, it is a system of tax collection wherein payers are required to deduct the full tax on certain income payments. Meaning to say, ang final withholding tax ay ang pagkakaltas o pagbabawas ng kabuuan o full tax na ipinataw ng gobyerno sa mga korporasyon na nagbabayad ng mga kalakal o serbisyo. On the other hand, when we say tax return, it is a forms filed with the tax authority that reports income, expenses, and other pertinent tax information. Ibig sabihin, isinampas sa isang otoridad ang tax return na kung saan ito ay patungkol sa buwis na nag-uulat ng mga income, expenses, at iba pang impormasyon na nauugnay sa buwis o tax. In addition, ang tax return po ay isang pamamaraan na kung saan ang mga taxpayers o yung mga nagbabayad ng buwis ay kinakalkula ang kanilang mga pananagutan na buwis o tax liability. Also, as a taxpayer, you are allowed na mag-schedule ng pagbabayad ng buwis at mag-refund or mag-request ng refund para sa labis na pagbabayad ng mga buwis. So, the withholding tax returns BIR Form 0619F, or also known as monthly remittance return of final income taxes withheld, shall be filed in triplicate by every withholding agent or payer who is either an individual or corporation for the first 2 months of the quarter. Kapag sinabi po natin Form 0619F or monthly remittance return of final income taxes withheld, it is a remittance form that is used to remit final withholding taxes. Or ito po yung act of sending o pagpapadala ng pera to remit a final withholding taxes. The question here is, who needs to file Form 0619F? So, monthly remittance return of final income taxes withheld should be filed in triplicate to any individual or non-individual na kung saan they are considered as the withholding agent. Kapag sinabi po natin withholding agent, sila po yung payer, either any person or entity na may control sa pagbabayad na napapailalim sa withholding tax, and therefore is required to withhold o bawasan at i-remit ang mga buwis o taxes na binabayaran ng employees sa government. Bilang isang withholding agent o payer, ikaw ay magpa-file ng 3 beses o triplicate ng Form 0619F sa government for the first 2 months of the quarter. Kung ang agent na kinakailangan mag-withhold ng mga pagbabayad ay isang korporasyon, so the return shall be filed gamit ang pangalan ng korporasyon at dapat verified ito ng President, Vice President at Authorized Officer at may pirma ng Appointed Treasurer. Sa pagpa-file po ng Form 0619F o Monthly Remittance Return of Final Income Taxes Withheld, mayroon po tayong nakalaan na deadline at place for monthly manual filing. For manual filers po, the return shall be filed and the tax shall be paid o yung buwis ay dapat bayaran before o bago ang ika-10 araw ng buwan. Kasunod po ng buwan kung saan ang pag-withhold ay ginawa with letter A, the authorized agent bank of the Revenue District Office having jurisdiction over the withholding agent's place of business o sa autorisadong bangko po ng tanggapan ng distrito ng kita na may jurisdiction o nasasakupan na lugar ng negosyo na may mga hawak na agents. Letter B, in places o sa mga lugar where are no authorized agent banks to the revenue collection officer o sa opisyal na pangolekta ng kita. Letter C, to the authorized city or municipality treasurer within the revenue district where the withholding agent's place of business is located, or sa loob po ng otorisadong lungsod o munisipalidad kung saan matatagpuan ang lugar ng mga negosyo ng mga withholding agent. So the next one is for monthly deadline for EFPS filing. What do you mean by EFPS? So EFPS stands for Electronic Filing and Payment System. It refers to the system developed and maintained by the Bureau of Internal Revenue or BIR for electronically filing for tax returns, including attachments, if any, and paying taxes due thereon, specifically through the internet. So, bakit po ba gumagamit ng EFPS? So, sa EFPS po kasi, ang mga taxpayers ay maaaring mag-avail ng isang walang actual na papel na pinipilapan sa pagpapile ng buwis at maaari po silang magbayad ng kanilang mga taxes through online sa pamamagitan ng kanilang naka-enroll na bank account. In addition po, dahil nga available ang EFPS or Electronic Filing and Payment System sa internet, ang mga taxpayers taxpayers po ay maaaring mag-file or mag-pay ng kanilang mga taxes anumang oras at kahit saan, hanggat sila po ay gumagamit ng computer na may connection sa internet. In accordance with the schedule set forth of RR or Revenue Regulation Number 26/2002, the deadline for a filing of returns is as follows. So for Group A po, the deadline or the due date for filing of returns is 15 days following the end of the month. So, sino-sino po ba ang mga business industry na included po sa Group A? Ito po ang banking institutions, insurance and pension funding, non-bank financial intermediation, activities auxiliary to financial intermediation, construction, water transport, hotels and restaurants, and land transport. For Group B, the deadline or the due date of filing of returns is 14 days following the end of the month. Ang mga business industry po na included sa Group B are the manufacture and repair of furniture, manufacture of basic metals, manufacture of chemicals and chemical products, manufacture of coke, refined petroleum and fuel products, and etc. For Group C, the deadline or the due date for filing of returns is 13 days following the end of the month. So included po dito ang business industry na retail sale, wholesale trade and commission trade, sale, maintenance, repair of motor vehicle, sale of automotive fuel, collection, purification and distribution of water, computer and related activities, and real estate activities. For Group D, ang deadline or due date of filing of returns is 12 days following the end of the month. So included po dito ang business industry na air transport, electricity, gas, steam and hot water supply, postal and telecommunications, publishing, printing, and reproduction of recorded media, recreational, cultural, and sporting activities, recycling, renting of goods and equipment, and supporting and ox transport activities. For the last group, Group E, the deadline or the due date of filing of returns is 11 days following the end of the month. So included po dito ang business industry na activities of membership organization incorporation, health and social work, private educational services, and etc. Move on naman po tayo sa quarterly filing. Kapag sinabi po natin quarterly filing, ito po yung pagpa-file natin ng estimated tax payment made by the IRS or Internal Revenue Service 4 times a year. So, the withholding agent shall file BIR Form 1601FQ or also known as Quarterly Remittance Return of Final Income Taxes Withheld on or before the last day of the month after each quarter. Kapag sinabi po natin Form 1601FQ, also known as Quarterly Remittance Return of Final Income Taxes Withheld, it's a tax form which is used to remit all other forms of final withholding taxes. Here, who is responsible to file Form 1601FQ? Likewise, in monthly remittance return of final income taxes withheld, the responsible for filing the quarterly remittance return of final income taxes withheld are any individual or non-individual considered as the withholding agent, who is required to withhold or deductan po ang taxes na binabayaran na employees. Another thing, kung ang agent po na kinakailangan mag-withhold ng mga pagbabayad ay isang korporasyon, then the return shall be filed gamit po ang pangalan ng corporation at dapat ito po ay verified ng President, Vice President, or authorized officer at may pirma ng appointed treasurer. So sa pagpapile po ng Form 1601FQ ay dapat i-file nang hindi po lalampas sa huling araw ng buwan kasunod po ng pagtatapos ng nabubuwisang quarter kung saan ginawa ang withholding tax. So according po sa nabasa kong info, yung tax forms po will be sent electronically to the BIR until 9 p.m. So kung lalampas ka po sa deadline ng pagpapile ng Form 1601FQ, ay hindi na po nila iyon i-accept. Rather, it will be transmitted within the next business day. The next one, we have penalties for late filing or for remittance of final income taxes withheld. So if you are late in filing or for remittance final income taxes withheld, there shall be imposed o ikaw po ay sisingilin o papatawan and it will be collected as part of the tax. Here are the following penalties. We have 3 classifications of penalties. These are surcharge, interest, and compromise. Let's begin with the first one, which is the surcharge. Kapag sinabi po natin surcharge, ito po yung patong na singil o karagdagang bayad. So dahil nga sinuway mo ang policy ng BIR o kung ikaw ay may na-violate na violations o nilabag sa pagpapile, mayroon kang kaparusahan na dagdag doon o yung tinatawag nating surcharge. May dalawang klase ang surcharge depending on the rate. We have 25% surcharge and 50% surcharge. So what are the differences of the two? So, paano ba natin malalaman o ma-apply kung ano yung rate ng surcharge mo? So, ganito po yun. If it is simple neglect, the surcharge is 25%. If it is willful neglect, the surcharge is 50%. Neglect means napabayaan. When we say simple neglect, hindi ganoon kagrabe yung nagawa mong kapabayaan o maaaring hindi mo ito sinadya. Let's say may kasalanan ka, pero hindi ganoon kagrabe kasi hindi mo naman ito sinasadya. Kumbaga ito ay nagkataon lamang. When we say willful neglect, ikaw po talaga ay may kasalanan at ginawa mo po or sinadya mo po ito. So, mas liwanagin pa po natin. Simple neglect is the taxpayer filed a return before the receipt of notice from the BIR to file a return. So, di ba sumunod ka naman talaga? Nag-file ka ng return. Subalit, itong return na ipinail mo ay mayroong problema. Maaaring sa amount, sa place, or sa time ng pagpapile mo. At dahil dyan, nagkaroon ka ng penalty at nakapag-file ka bago ka pa makatanggap ng notice from the BIR na mag-file ka na. Samantalang sa willful neglect naman po, the taxpayer receive a notice from the BIR to file a return before the actual filing. Meaning, hindi ka talaga nagpa-file o nag-file, alam mo naman na dapat mong gawin iyon. Pinabayaan mo na. At dahil doon, nag-surcharge ka po ng 50%. Naano ka po nilang sabihan na mag-file ka na. So, under simple neglect po, we have some violations na i-avoid o hindi mo dapat ma-violate in order na hindi ka po magka-penalty ng 25%. So, the first violation, letter A, failure to file any return and pay the amount of tax or installment due on or before the due date. Meaning, nag-file ka naman talaga. Yun nga lamang po, hindi ka umabot doon sa panahon na itinadhana na sinabi ng batas na date of filing. Let's say, for example, ang sabi ni BIR is March 15, dapat nakapag-file ka na. Pero ang ginawa mo, nag-file ka beyond the date. For example, nag-file ka is March 16. So, nalampasan mo na yung araw o panahon na dapat nag-file ka na. Letter B, unless otherwise authorized by the Commissioner, filing a return with a person or office other than those with whom it is required to be filed. Sa madaling salita, wrong venue or place ka po ng binayaran. Let's say, ako dapat ay sa Batangas nagbayad, pero sa Maynila ako nagbayad. Ang sabi po sa taxation, kanya-kanya po siyang situs. As you remember into the previous lesson, yung situs of taxation or yung place of taxation. Kung sakaling nagbayad ka man sa ibang lugar, nagbayad ka man or nag-file ka man, mali ka pa din po ng pagbabayad sapagkat inaasahan po sa iyo na you pay it at a right place or venue. Unless, sabi po dito, unless otherwise authorized by the Commissioner. Unless kung sinabi lang po, tsaka. Letter C, failure to pay the full or part of the amount of tax shown on the return, or the full amount of the tax due for which no return is required to be filed on or before the due date. Sa pagkakataon naman na po na ito, nagbayad ka naman, subalit inaasahan po sa iyo na you pay it at a right amount. Kung magkano talaga yung hinihingi sa iyo. Ngunit hindi mo siya nagawa. Hindi mo nabayaran ng buo yung dapat sanang tax na babayaran mo. Let us move on to letter D. Failure to pay the deficiency tax within the time prescribed for its payment remittance in the notice of assessment. In letter D, we have what we call deficiency tax. Meaning, ito ay kakulangan na bayad sa tax. So, ang pinakapunto po dito, mayroon kang kakulangan na kabayaran, sabi ni BIR, kulang. Binigyan ka ng panahon para sana babayaran mo yun, pero hindi mo din nabayaran yung amount na yun bago mag-lapse yung time na binigay sa iyo. So, therefore, mapapatawan ka ng additional 25%. Let's move on to the willful neglect, which have a penalty of 50%. Again, willful neglect, sinadya ng hindi mag-filing o mag-file. At dito, nauna kang i-assess ng BIR bago ka pa talaga may gawing action. Under this, letter A, willful neglect to file the return within the period prescribed by the code or by rules and regulations. So, ito na nga po yung kanina. Hindi ka talaga nag-file ng return at pinadalhan ka na ni BIR ng notice of assessment o ng letter of demand. At dahil dyan, may karagdagan kang taxes na mas mataas sa simple neglect na 50%. Kasi nga, sinadya mong hindi mag-file ng return. And letter B, in case a false or fraudulent return is willfully made. At this point, nag-file ka naman, subalit sa simulat sa pool, dinadaya mo na talaga ang babayaran mo. You do it in a false or fraudulent way. Ginawa mo na talaga siya, kumbaga, since at the first place, niloloko o lolokohin mo ang gobyerno. The second classification of penalty is the interest. Interest at the rate of double the legal interest rate for loans or forbearance of any money in the absence of an express stipulation as set by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas from the date prescribed for payment or remittance until the amount is fully paid or remitted. The last classification of penalty is the compromise penalty, which is defined as the extrajudicial settlement of the taxpayer's criminal liability for his or her violation of the pertinent provision of the tax code, instead of the BIR instituting a criminal action in court against the taxpayer. So, compromise is pagkakakulong nang hindi bababa ng 2 taon ng pagkakakulong, subalit hindi rin lalabis ng 4 na taon kung ikaw ay may na-violate ng any pertinent provision of the tax code. Let us move on to the entities exempt from final income tax o sa mga entities po na hindi saklaw sa pagbabayad ng penal na buwis sa kita. So the first one is the foreign governments and foreign government owned and controlled corporations. So the term foreign government means the government of any foreign country o yun po pamahalaan ng anumang dayuhang bansa o any political subdivision ng isang dayuhang bansa. And in addition po, ito yung dayuhang pamahalaan na may pagmamayari at may kontroladong mga korporasyon. The second one is the international missions or organizations with tax immunity. When we say tax immunity, ito po yung the fact ng pagiging immune o hindi po tinatablahan mula sa pagbubuwis. So included po dito ang charitable organizations, churches and religious organizations, private foundations, political organizations, and other non-profit organizations. The third one is the General Professional Partnership. Kapag sinabi po natin General Professional Partnership, ito po yung pakikipagsosyo na binuo ng mga tao para sa tanging layunin ng paggamit ng kanilang common profession na wala pong bahagi ng kita na nakukuha mula sa pagsali sa anumang kalakalan o negosyo. Under Section 26 of the Tax Code po, as amended, a General Professional Partnership as such shall not be subject to income tax. However, persons engaging in business as partners in a general professional partnership shall be liable for income tax only in their separate and individual capacities. The fourth one is the Qualified Employee Trust Fund. Kapag sinabi po nating Employee Trust Fund, it is a long-term investment plan o pangmatagalang plano sa pamumuhunan that an employer establishes as a job benefit. Ang pinakakaraniwang anyo or forms po ng Qualified Employee Trust Fund ay ang Employee Stock Ownership Plans or also known as ESOP and the pension plans. When we say ESOP or Employee Stock Ownership Plans, ito po ay isang employee benefit plan na nagbibigay ng interes sa pagmamay-ari ng mga manggagawa sa kumpanya. While pension plans naman po, ito ay isang benepisyo ng mga kontribusyon ng pera na nakalaan upang pondohan ang mga pagbabayad na ginawa ng mga karapat-dapat na empleyado pagkatapos nilang magretiro. So the first two categories, which are the foreign governments and foreign government-owned and controlled corporations, and the international missions or organizations with tax immunity, are exempt on grounds of international committee. Bakit po? Kasi when we say international committee, ito ay yung paggalang na ibinibigay ng mga bansa sa isa't isa dahil sila ay sovereign equals. Kaya ang ari-arian o kita po ng isang dayuhang estado o pamahalaan ay maaaring hindi napaksa ng pagbubuwis ng ibang estado. Another thing pa po, the General Professional Partnership and the Qualified Employees Trust Fund are expressly exempt from any income tax imposed under the NIRC. Kasi nga po, it is the individual partners who shall be subject to income tax in their separate and individual capacities. So these four entities are exempt not only to final tax but also to capital gains tax and regular income tax. So that's all for today po. Thank you and God bless everyone. Keep safe.